Injuries are an unavoidable part of sports. On a daily basis, athletes get hurt as a byproduct of playing the games they love. But what about a sport where the very point of the game is to damage another athlete's body? This is Dr. Murray Heber. He's participated in 2 Olympics with Team Canada and specializes in working with elite athletes. His primary focus is analyzing the human body from a biomechanical and functional point of view. He will be our gateway to understanding what happens to MMA fighters after the fight.
I'm Dr. Murray Heber. I'm trained as a chiropractor. I blend a lot of different techniques and styles into what I do for chiropractic though, so actually getting a lot into extremities, shoulders and elbows, hips and knees, but mainly what I do is soft tissue work, and I own a clinic here in Calgary called Elite Sports Therapy, and that's where the whole clinic tries to go through there and get athletes back on their feet and get them healthy and moving again as soon as possible.
So today I'm here to see Dr. Murray Heber for an opportunity to do some physio consultation. I'd really like him to focus on primarily my back and possibly my elbow, because I hyperextended it pretty badly about 3 weeks ago, and it'd be nice to see what I can do to either improve that injury or prevent it from getting any worse.
That one catch your back there a little bit?
Yeah, it kind of knocked the wind out of me and just kind of like kinked my back up. I didn't feel great after that, to be honest.
Yeah, that looks like a pretty good impact, sort of straight on your back there.
Yeah, and I was not expecting at all to get taken down that easily, so it just kind of, it was more the shock of it than anything.
Essentially, like a quick impact on the back like that can go through, especially on a softer sort of landing surface. I mean, we'll still call that soft, even though it is pretty hard. But you can see the sort of bounce on the surface there, so that does a good job of absorbing a lot of impact out of it. So one thing to be watching for is obviously going to get into any kind of rib contusions or rib fractures in through some of that. But now you usually need a bit more of a sharper point to create that. You don't necessarily need it, but it can still happen just from a direct sort of thud like that. Other thing too is it can go through and actually just cause somebody to go and get winded. So that can be, you know, pretty eventful in a situation like that, because you go through and get momentarily stunned like that. Then also if it throws you off, then you can have an impact from that where your opponent can go through and gain a bit of an advantage. But that wasn't the case there, so that was good. Watching the footage of the athlete is fantastic. It gives me an advantage to be also to see their style of fighting, see where some of the vulnerabilities that there are sort of common throughout most of their fights, and also be able to have them there and they can give me the feedback as to, okay, yeah, what they noticed there too from both their technique or else when they remember there was a point of pain in through there.
Yeah, this will be one of my first opportunities to see any footage of myself competing, and it'll be nice to see it with a doctor so we can sort of pinpoint what could have happened to me and what I can do to maybe prevent that. And also it'll just be cool to see myself compete in one way or another. I've never really had that opportunity.
How much is fatigue starting to play a role in that for you? Because if you say you like to, you know, always go in hard, take down fast, I mean, if that's most of your matches, you may not actually get drawn into something this long.
Yeah, I would say it had a big factor in it. I remember thinking, I don't have the energy to submit this guy or to mount any kind of legitimate attack. So I just remember thinking, well, it's a point-based round robin tournament, yeah. So I'm just gonna wait it out and try not to get submitted and hope for a better outcome in the next one.
Okay. All right, because yeah, it looks like at that point that you can sort of see where it just matters, like, okay, just play more of that defensive role and just sort of get through it, just survive it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Time. Draw here between these two guys.
Okay, get you to have a seat at the table there. All right, okay, so now give me the rundown. So you had some issues with the elbow and some back pain, hey?
Yeah, elbow I would say is the major one. It got hyperextended pretty badly in the week or so leading up to the tournament, and it still bugs me. I wake up in the morning and it hurts pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah, and the back is, it's okay. It doesn't feel great, but it's a lot better shape than the elbow. I hyperextended my elbow before the tournament. It was pretty much my first week back in the gym, and got stuck in a double arm bar and got the one arm out, but forgot about the other one, and it got popped out pretty badly.
Any pain on sort of inside, outside of the elbow?
I would say more on the inside and the outside, or the inside and also inside the arm.
Okay. All right, so inside the arm, what do you mean by that sort of back, like right underneath and through the back and through there?
I would say like right in here.
Okay.
like right where it seems to attach.
Okay. Now after that, did you have any symptoms that sort of went down to the hands and fingers? Like any numbness, tingling, coldness?
No, nothing like that.
Okay. So working with Justin, we found that he sustained a bit of a sprain to the inside of his elbow. And so basically that ligament in through there, it is almost basically a stress to it, which can go through and tear it or strain it to a certain level. And for his situation, probably pretty minor, grade 1, maybe a low grade 2 injury to it, which means that there is some damage, about 25 to 30% damage to the tissue, but still able to go through and heal up nicely and provide good strength and stability there in the future. So now what we're looking for in there is basically the body to go through a natural scarring process of that ligament. So it wants to go through there and scar down. It will do a decent job healing up. It will never be as good as before injury to it, but we'll do a decent job of actually scarring down, tightening up, and then minimizing that amount of gapping that's in through there, that excessive amount of gapping in through there, and then the pain starts to decrease when that healing process is basically done.
Right.
Okay, now then, for the back. I guess tell me where the back pain is and what it's sort of feeling like, how it's progressed from that point of injury till now.
It's sort of like an upper middle part of my back, and also to the left of my left shoulder blade.
Now going through and working through his back, actually it seemed like it was a bit more of almost that quick little blunt trauma to it. It's almost like a bruise or a bruise into the ribs. The muscles want to go into a bit of a spasm state through there. Kind of almost if you go and get the wind knocked out of you, how everything wants to go and tighten up. That's sort of what seems to be residual, but just a little bit on that left side of his spine. So nothing really to be worried about through there. You just got to get those muscles to relax off, get those to settle down, and everything will be restored back to normal. So essentially in through here, the main thing would be just getting some deep tissue work done on the muscle. So getting in there, any kind of like deep tissue massage, any sort of work that's get the blood flow in there, get that muscle tone to sort of drop on down will be helpful for it.
Relax it so it's not pulling everything together so toughly.
You got it.
So I just finished my consultation with Dr. Murray Heber, and he went over some of the injuries that were incurred during the CMC grappling tournament, and I'm excited to see what I can do with my body to give it a bit of a break instead of just thrashing it about and letting nature take its course in the process of healing.
Okay, so I just want to show you a couple exercises that you can do for helping to strengthen the inside of that elbow. So kind of what we're talking about with either tossing a ball to the wall or else using a piece of TheraBand. The exercises we gave Justin for his elbow were basically to go through and trying to gap that joint a little bit. So put it into that vulnerable situation, but in a controlled fashion. So two ways we wanted to do it. One is sort of with speed of movement. So that's just sort of very, very light load, kind of like just throwing the ball up against the wall and sort of bouncing it off the wall a little bit. So you're getting high repetitions, high speed, but low load onto it. The other one we want to do is adding some overload to it. So basically getting some TheraBand, some resistance behind it, and getting that down to stretch a little bit more, and getting him to sort of push a little more to strengthen that tissue. So what we're going to get you to do is just sort of be standing here, elbow bent like that. Now then just go through there, hold on to this. So this end of it here, you can close it into a doorway, tie it onto anything behind you. Then from that, all I want you to do, so I'll give you a little bit of resistance, but just lead in through with the elbow, and then now follow through with the arm through there. So you start to feel that gap in there a little bit. Okay, so we'll do that a couple times there, so we're leading through there. And so as you go through there, it should go through there, not too quick of a movement, just sort of slow, steady, and controlled. And you should feel that, but only probably around a maximum like a 3 out of 10 on a pain scale. So a very, very mild onset of like a discomfort, but not into a pain zone at all.
Pretty much where it's at right now.
Perfect then, so this would be a good spot for you to start.
I think the value of these exercises that I've been giving will be huge for me, because I'm pretty notorious for not taking care of myself at all. I've the worst diet ever. I don't stretch or run or do anything, so I think it'll definitely help improve my overall athleticism and help me from getting so injury-ridden during the gym, and it'll help me to get into the gym a lot more.
Okay, now then one for sort of strengthening or basically reactivating these muscles in through the back here. So essentially they're not really injured, so they're not too much to have to go through and bring them back up for strength-wise, but more to sort of wake them up. For Justin's back, not much to do for strengthening because there wasn't so much of an injury that took place. So right now what we're going to do is sort of break a bit of that spasm cycle. So one way to do that is actually get the muscles engaged and actually using them for the actual purpose. So for that basis, gave him a simple seated row exercise. Just really focusing on keeping proper spinal alignment and spine posture with using the proper shoulder blade motion, the full retraction before finishing off that row motion. So grab one hand or another, one of those through there. One thing I want you to focus on with this is that when it's coming, also let your arms go totally straight out there for me. Good. So when it comes through there, let the shoulder blades actually come all the way out. So full stretch the shoulder blades. Now from there, retract the shoulder blades, so squeeze them together behind you. So pull them, there you go. And then now finish off with a bit of a row of the elbows in through there. Perfect. So that should be enough to go through there, work that muscle out, then have it sort of settle down and drop that spasm cycle, and then it's good to go moving forward. Okay, all right. Well, pleasure meeting you. So all the best for the training. Any more questions, feel free to contact us. But yeah, other than that, all the best and looking forward to seeing you fight in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Doctor. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure. Have a good one.
I'm about to have my consultation with Dr. Murray Heber so I can get some professional opinions on some of my injuries as well as some exercises to help improve those problems, and I'm excited. So in spots like that where my arm is under attack, I start to be extra protective knowing it's a little sensitive from past injury.
So when it's bent in through there like that, that's where you're feeling it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, actually, because that situation there puts a lot of stress on the inside of the elbow, so that can easily be a point where you can, re-aggravate it in an old injury for sure.
And then times like that where I have to post out on that leg and it's extended and I need to put weight on it, I start to get nervous that I'm going to tweak it again too.
Okay, where does it feel? Do you have actually pain with that, or just more or less you just not comfortable in the situation?
I more just get nervous that I'm going to feel it.
Yeah, because now that, when it is in that position there, so when it needs to sort of extended but just slightly bent, that is where you can actually go through and get quite a bit of gapping, both sort of mainly on the inside of the knee. So it is a vulnerable position for it. Actually, almost the more bent it gets, then the more twist and maneuverability it does have to almost minimize injury to it. Then when it's fully locked out, it's a bit more of a tight joint in that situation too. So again, decreasing the likelihood of an injury. So yeah, it does sort of have that window of maximum vulnerability right when you're reposting out like that.
Time.
Nice work, Jeff.
It was really cool to sit and watch some of my grappling matches with the doctor, who's an expert on body mechanics, and he could actually pick out different positions where my injured limbs would be in jeopardy, and we could discuss that. So there, my knee is bent and he's putting a lot of pressure on it, and I'm trying to counter that with pressure in. It's pretty sensitive on the inside of the knee there.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's at that sort of a risk of injury at that state. I mean, again, it's in that vulnerable situation, so if you did have an active injury or something that's still sort of recovering, then it can still be creating pain through there, but if more of a reflex it develops to protect it from a further injury. So yeah, good sign that it's actually not injured, otherwise that's creating a point of pain into those spots there. And then through from there, we got some more abuse onto the elbow again. Do you feel you actually consciously avoid situations with it?
I tap earlier on this arm when I know it's caught, rather than trying to fight through and see if I can get out.
Okay.
I feel like once someone's got that arm, I'm giving up on it sooner.
There you go. Okay. Now, do you recall that was at a point of pain, or was that one of those situations where all of a sudden you felt it and I was like, okay, well.
It was more painful, I feel like.
Yeah, so that's definitely something to go and look at in terms of whether it actually still is injury in through there, or whether it is still just sort of an old ingrained habit to want to go through and guard and protect it. So that you can actually make some good gains with some work, some treatment, some diagnosis there to see what's still going on. Because if it's just old stuff that is now just sort of a pattern in there, we can actually shut down a lot of that stuff pretty quickly. So that'd be good to see. Okay, look at you lying flat on your back here on the table for me.
My knee is an injury that has been bothering me recently, and so I'm excited to have him take a look at that and see what lingering issues might be there and what I can do to help that.
Okay, because now it was your right knee that was bothering you, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so it was inside the knee and through here. Had a unique opportunity to sit down with Jen today. It was great to go and meet her and actually have a chance to go through, especially her knee injury that she sustained not too long ago. It's still sort of in the healing phase, which basically means it's not in that quick blowout time, but also still is in that window of time where there is a little bit of apprehension that she was experiencing. I'm just gonna go through there and just do some sort of retesting of some of the ligaments in here and see how it's feeling. So that totally relaxed, you're gonna be all the way to the leg there. Okay, so I'm just going through and putting a little stress into it that way.
That makes me nervous. Yeah, I'm starting to feel that.
Okay, painful when that happens, or more just you're just nervous of where it's going?
Nervous because that's the movement right there.
Okay, and that was the main concern that she had. It wasn't so much that there was still pain with it, but she'd get into positions and feel that she's not confident in it. Now that's as a neat sort of barrier that it's tough for an athlete to go and push through, because they're getting this feedback from the joint saying, don't go there, this is bad, this is dangerous. But that now with some therapy and with some coaching into how to actually load into these areas can actually now push through that barrier so you can regain that confidence to now take that back into full sparring and full intensity of fighting. Hey, Hurl, come on up, have a seat, we'll have a look at that elbow.
Okay.
So, now then, when was the injury in the elbow?
Oh, 2 or 3 years ago? I don't remember exactly. It's
Okay.
been a while.
As well, I have an old injury in this elbow that sneaks up on me sometimes. More so just creates a little bit of anxiety for me, I think, when it's about to get attacked. And I'll feel it ever so often, so we'll see what he says about that.
Now, what do you feel? Do you feel points of pain, or what does it not like about that? Is it sort of in an area in particular that it feels it?
Underneath and stretched out.
Okay.
It's not painful there yet, but I feel like a little more pressure.
And it would get to that point? Okay. We don't necessarily want to take it to that point of pain through there, but now it's basically going to go to feel around, same thing as we're doing in through the knee, feel around for what amounts of scar tissue in and around these muscles that cross over it, and to sort of try and evaluate what is still lingering around, what can be cleaned up. Looking at Jen's elbow, actually that was an older issue, probably about 2-3 years ago that she sustained an injury through there, but she said she still has some of this apprehension that goes on to it and a feeling of vulnerability. And that's something we were going to go through and break down, because the likelihood of still having a remaining injury into that joint is minimal. So it's a good thing, meaning that there's probably not a whole lot of injury that's lingering around in the elbow, but just that protective mechanism is still in place. So that's actually really good for the elbow. So what we've got to try and do now is basically loosen the muscles up that are across that joint, making sure that they're not going through and providing some of that feedback loop, so we can get them to restore back to their normal length and their normal function. And that should be able to do a good job of breaking down a lot of that apprehensive feedback that she's getting from it. Questions at all?
No, that was great.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's great. Okay, so for the knee and basically getting it stronger and loading into all those different positions, what is important to do is actually get it into basically that just loading into a position with your hip and knee sort of flexed and bent. So if you just sort of hang into that position now, does it create any pain to you? Do you feel strong, solid into that?
Yeah, feel good.
Okay, so the exercise we gave Jen to help strengthen and stabilize her knee is basically sort of increasing the dynamic loading of the knee. So what that really means is its ability to adapt and strengthen and change its firing pattern based on where it is and where the body is situated. So its ability to learn that and feel like those instantaneous feedback is an important part for what she needs for her fighting. So this is something you can go through and do, and yeah, you can increase that stress by just now increasing sort of the depth you're going, or you can do it on an unstable surface, so even if you have like a Bosu ball, so that you can go through and do it on, so now the ground's going to be moving on you a little bit as well. So it's going to just open up again that window of vulnerability to it, so making it a little bit harder.
I'm happy to have a plan going forward now to put these exercises in play to strengthen my knee especially. And I like having the encouragement to go ahead and put my knee in stressful situations and not be afraid of that. That's a good way to teach my body it's okay to use it the way I need to and strengthen it.
Okay, so now let's move into some stuff you can do for the elbow. So basically you can use just a piece of TheraBand, and what I'll get you to do is actually sort of hold on to the one end of it there. So the exercise for Jen's elbow is because it's an older injury. What we try and do is we got to break down this apprehensive cycle to it. So what we got to do is we got to fatigue it out, so we tire the muscles out around it, and that's when all of a sudden we can sort of tap into that tire, that fatigue, that apprehension that kicks in with that. What I want you to do is almost basically a quick sort of pulsation to it. So I want you to almost get the lead with that elbow in there a little bit, and then yeah, just sort of pull that through. So even a little bit harder through there, a little bit faster even. So shorter motion to it, there you go, and quicker pulses like that. Good. And now what we're trying to do is basically get that stress to go through here there. As the faster you go through it, then it should go through and create that stress. And so how are basically doing something like that, this medial gapping of the elbow with resistance, with a piece of TheraBand or a piece of rubber tubing, and basically going through there in higher number of repetitions, but quick sort of firing of it to just go through and fatigue that muscle out. When it's tired, that's when it's going to go into that point where it's not happy there. It's going to feel uncomfortable. She's going to want to sort of feeling to stop it, but not because of pain, but because of this apprehension. And that's where we want to get her into that working mode to break that cycle down. And now for this, go through and give about 30 quick repetitions like that. As you sort of snap them off, there you go, just like that. And to increase the resistance of it, all you have to do is just basically walk further away from it. It's going to increase that stretch onto it, and it's going to create that overload for you.
It was great, actually. I learned a lot just about the body mechanics and how the body tries to heal itself. Even him just manipulating and working on my knee right there in this appointment helped it feel better as I'm leaving than it was when I came in. And I'm excited to put into use the exercises he gave me.
All right, Kay, that was great seeing you. So hopefully all those tips come in handy and you can put them into training and you can get back to injury-free right away.
Thanks.
Right on. Take care.